back. It's the Height Differential. That's Neil. I'm Nick. Got a lot to talk about. A lot of baseball, a lot of football. First off, Neil, is that a new hat you got on?
Oh, that's a new hat, my dog. That's a new hat. Look at that. Bam. Bam. Goat. Bengals goat. I think it's actually a Tiger Woods hat, but it could go either way.
It can work both ways.
Won that at the second annual Who Day Golf Scramble on this past Sunday for being closest to the hole, not only on one hole, but I also won the second closest to the hole. I was closest to the hole on both contests, and I beat somebody by about 1.5 feet.
If that.
That would be, who would that be? Would that be you?
It would be me, and I put it there first. So pressure was on. I thought I was probably going to win. And then you get a good shot. I thought it might be a little deep.
It hung on the back edge.
It hung on the back edge, and Pops, my dad, walked it out, and I lost out on that sweet Tiger Woods goat hat. But we did win the thing.
We did.
I don't know if the teams were really that fair. And we did not play that well. We started off okay. We came home limping a little bit.
Yeah, back nine was a challenge, but we limped home. We did it though. We'll take a dub's a dub. We'll take it.
But dude, I'll tell you, for somebody who retired for 2 months, winning 2 closest to the pins in a scramble, you got to feel pretty good about that.
Yeah, we might go on about a month hiatus, but you know, we were back. We had a solid, good week and a half, couple golf scrambles in the last couple of weeks. Hit the ball pretty well. Like you said, the back nine has started to fall apart on all of us. So maybe we do need to take another couple weeks off and get back at it here next month.
And dude, 17 on Glen Oaks, my worst hated hole of all time. That downhill lie over the creek. I can't figure that shot out. But I don't know.
Glen Oaks is just hard. It's just hard in general.
It was. But good time on Sunday. We parlayed that into watching the Bengals and the Packers. Second half actually looked like a football game, but it wasn't enough as the Bengals lost. We'll get into that. Let's start with baseball. The Mariners, team that's never been to the World Series, up 2-0, headed home tonight against the Blue Jays.
Yeah, I mean, they went into Seattle went into Toronto and just took care of business. It was a pretty good, exciting game one. Close matchup. The big dumper, Kyle Raleigh, put one in the seats to get that back to even, and then the Mariners ended up scoring a couple more there to take game one. But game two was an absolute bloodbath. So yeah, Mariners sitting in really, really good shape going back to Seattle for the next 2, possibly 3, if they need to go 5. But they're in a great spot.
Yeah, great spot. And you know, Jorge Polanco's kind of been the unsung hero of the postseason for the Mariners. Game-winning RBIs in 3 consecutive postseason games. You know what they're calling him right now in that Mariners clubhouse?
What's that?
They're calling him George Bonds.
George
Bonds. Okay. I mean, he's hitting like Barry Bonds right now. I mean, you know, he got signed at the very end of the offseason. I think he's on a 1-year deal with the Mariners, but has really came up clutch for them. Had 2 home runs last week against Skubal. I mean, the Mariners have only won 2 games. We've talked about it. They haven't been to the World Series. They've only won 2 games in the ALCS 3 times in their history. And obviously this is one of them. They also did it in 95 and in 2000. But the Mariners at home with the chance to go to the World Series for the first time. And I mean, all you got to do is win 2 out of the next 5 and you're there.
Hope they do it. Get Gene Suarez in the World Series. I'm a big Gene Suarez fan over here.
Well, we talked about a lot of guys that are hitting. He's not one of them right now.
He's not one. No,
I mean, if he starts hitting, that lineup looks even deeper. But it's George Kirby and Shane Bieber tonight. We'll see. That game is actually going on as we're recording. We'll see how that goes. See if the Mariners can get 1 game closer to getting to the World Series for the first time in Major League history, and how fun that will be to cover for Alex Mayer, our guy down there in Seattle, the media relations director for the Mariners, and former Louisville Bats PR director. He's his head's spinning right now with how much work he's doing, but it's got to be a blast.
So what you're saying is, if they make it, it would not be a good time to hit them up for World Series tickets.
I mean, you can try. Hey, shoot your shot. Shoot your shot. But so Mariners looking to go up 3-0 tonight, and then the other series also 2-0 as the Dodgers starting pitching is just dominated through the first two games.
But yeah, Blake Snell, fantastic game one. Yamamoto follows it up again with a one run complete game yesterday. So those two back to back pitching performances, only given up. I think Snell didn't even give up a run there. The Brewers scored one late off a reliever, but for those two pitchers to only give up one run and I think a combined 17 innings of starting pitching, that's getting it done. That is absolutely getting it done. And then now you're going back to LA for two or to the next three games. And it's an experienced veteran team that the Dodgers are with that lineup that's been there before, obviously last year.
Every year.
Every year, basically. Like this team, there's no way. The Brewers are cooked. They're done. Put them in the grave. The Dodgers are moving on.
Yeah, and you talked about the starting pitching for the Dodgers. It's definitely been the story. I mean, the first team to have consecutive starts of at least 8 innings since 2018 when the Giants did it with Madison Bumgarner and Johnny Cueto. They've had 8 starts in this postseason, and 7 times their starter has gone 6+. First time a team's done that since the 2013 Tigers. We've talked about this in previous pods. All these teams not going with starters, pitching your closer in a deciding game 5 or starting your closer in a deciding game 5. To see a team like the Dodgers. Now, look, I know they got a $450 million payroll and guys can get hurt and they've got guys backing them up. But to see starters actually going out there and throwing 110 pitches and going 8 and 9 innings, as an old school baseball guy, I still hate the Dodgers, but it's good to see.
The way it should be. That's the way the game should be played. Yep, you get your starting pitching, let them go out there. I mean, the Brewers are guilty of what you just mentioned. Like a lot of their games, like they've been throwing the closer in the first inning, the setup guy in the second inning, and just kind of piecing it together. Peralta, I think, went last night, and he got roughed up a little bit. And he's been their best starter.
He wasn't bad, but it just wasn't good enough against.
No, he wasn't good enough.
But
I mean, the Dodgers are a prime example of what you were talking about on piecing the bullpen games together, and it works sometimes, and other times it doesn't. So,
but one team has the luxury of having a $450 million payroll.
They do,
and that's why the Dodgers are able to do this. And their bullpen has been ravaged by injuries. Their bullpen's not that strong, so they have to rely on starters, and their starters have stepped up. And if their starters were struggling, I think the Dodgers would probably be struggling. So, I mean, they've had to have their starters step up, and now in games 3 and 4, you get Tyler Glasnow and Shohei. So,
good luck.
It's not getting any easier.
Good luck.
And so yesterday, this guy had a home run for the Dodgers to become the Dodgers' postseason all-time home run leader. If you had to guess who that was, who would you say?
I'm going to say it was probably our guy. Did he move out of the hotel? It's my guy. Who was that? It's
not Teoscar.
Not Teoscar?
He hadn't been there long enough.
Oh, let's see. Who hit a home run yesterday? Max Muncy.
Yes. And, I mean, look, he's been there for a while, but in no world would I expect him to be the all-time leading home run hitter in Dodgers postseason history with 14.
Well, when you look at the lineup and the guys that Ohtani's been there a year, Freeman's been there a year, Will Smith's been there a few years, but he's not going to be that guy. I mean, Edman, Hernandez. I mean, these guys haven't been around as long as him. I mean, that's the name of the game. You're there longest.
Yeah.
It's not when you look at the lineup, it's not surprising.
I mean, if you made me guess, I probably would have said Mookie.
Yeah.
But I mean, he's been there, 5-6 years now?
Yeah.
So I guess it's possible to get to 14, but Muncy's been there the longest, and he's had some good postseasons. And
they've played in a lot of games. They played in a lot of postseason games in the last couple of years.
Yep, that home run last night got him to 14 and makes him the all-time postseason home run leader for the Dodgers. You had a stat regarding both these teams, the Dodgers and the Blue Jays, being up 2-0.
Yeah, I believe it's the first time since 1970 that both road teams have won the first 2 games of the championship series. So both road teams going up 2-0, heading back home. First time in 55 years.
So, yeah, and there's some other stats with that too. Teams up 2-0 in a best of 7. have won 78 of 93 times for 84%. And in a 2-3-2 series where you start at home and then you go on the road for 3 and come back, the teams winning games 1 and 2 on the road, an even better number, have won 24 of 27 for 89%. Just 2 years ago, the Diamondbacks rallied from an 0-2 deficit against the Phillies to advance to the World Series. That was 2023. The last time a team came back from 0-2 when they lost the first 2 at home, the 1996 Yankees did it against the Atlanta Braves, as the Braves were looking to win back-to-back World Series and won the first 2 at Yankee Stadium, came home, and Jim Leyritz changed that whole series, and the Yankees won the next 4 games, and that's when the beginning of the Yankees dynasty kind of started.
Yep. Yeah.
Whoever wins that ALCS, I'll be pulling for them to beat the Dodgers because the Dodgers have won it.
Yeah, I agree with you on that.
So you talked a little bit about Teoscar.
Yeah.
We got to get into this a little bit.
Yeah.
So the Dodgers are in Milwaukee. They're staying at the Pfister Hotel, which is famously known for being haunted. And I think they tried to stay there. Teoscar said the lights were kind of going on and off. He heard footsteps, and his wife also saw this stuff and heard the footsteps. And she refuses to stay there. So they got out, and they're not staying with the team.
I don't blame them. And they're not the only ones. Apparently, Mookie Betts rents at a Airbnb, is what I read. So he doesn't stay there either. But I don't blame him. You start seeing this paranormal stuff, I'm getting out of there. That's not for me. Ghosts and flickering lights and spirits. And like, especially when I'm trying to focus on winning a National League championship, I'm getting the heck out of there as well. And if you're the Dodgers, why are you staying there? Like, I mean, I guess maybe like that's where most teams stay, but why? You got players that don't want to stay there. You got players booking their own travel because it's so creepy. Just go stay at a nice Marriott.
Well, there's a full list of players that refuse to stay there. So yes, I agree. Like, I asked the same question. Why do we continue to stay there? Why do teams continue to stay there? Bryce Harper refuses to stay there after supposedly his clothes were moved from one side of the bed to the other while he was sleeping. So yeah, this is a real thing. And you talk about, hey, I don't want to be distracted while I'm in the NLCS, but also, dude, if wifey's saying we gone,
You gone.
we gone, right?
I don't understand why the Dodgers are going to stay there when their own players are freaked out by it. Like I said, it's a distraction. This could become a distraction. Luckily, it wasn't. And Teoscar clearly didn't distract him when he hit a bomb last night. This is a potential distraction. Go stay at a different hotel where your players can get some good night's sleep. They're not trying to worry about where their clothes are going, if the lights are going on and off, and if the faucet's running in the middle of the night. Get you just a little 9 hours, 10 hours of sleep uninterrupted, so you're fresh to go for the game the next day.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. If I'm sleeping and I wake up and I see something moving, I'm out.
Get the hell out of there.
I ain't playing. Like, I've seen Paranormal Activity. I've seen the movies. It's nothing to mess around with. And like, I've never seen ghosts. I don't want to start now.
Nope.
You know, we can drive 5 minutes to Waverly Hills and spend the night there. But you know what? I got zero interest in doing that. I might go look at it during the day.
Nope, not even doing that.
I might look at it during the day, but you ain't finding me there at night. I guarantee that.
I'm not stepping foot on that property. No chance. Day, night, doesn't matter. I'm out.
And for people that don't know, Waverly Hills Sanatorium is a former TB hospital, and it's been on several TV shows for about how haunted it is. It's about 10 minutes away from the house.
Yeah,
we can go check it out anytime. But
you can go down that body shoot if you want.
I'm not. No, I'm not playing with that. Like, I'm not playing with any of those demons, any of those ghosts. I'm keeping everything just even kill. We ain't messing around with the spirits. Well, I'm not even playing Ouija boards.
I'm not even going to fake haunted houses. I hate haunted houses. I'm not going to any haunted houses. Fake ones, real ones. It don't matter. I'm out. I don't like to be scared.
But if you do go to a haunted house because people want to go, or like say there's somebody like a hot chick that wants to go, your strategy is just to get in and out as quick as possible and don't scream. Like, dude, I'm serious. My head's down. and I'm just going. Like, get me out of here.
Close your eyes like this.
Don't you agree? Like,
Yeah,
I don't enjoy being scared. And I know it's not real, but just get me out of there.
yeah.
Get
I
me
got
out.
no interest. Zero interest whatsoever.
Get me out. And that's what T. Oscar's wife said too. And he listened, and as he should have, and evidently Mookie Betts shares the same sentiment as he was not staying there either. So the thing is, quit staying at the Pfister Hotel in Milwaukee.
Yep, that's
Like
step
Neil
one.
said, let's find us a Marriott,
Yep,
get those points,
yep. Gotta get points.
and let's
Get you free
let's get out of
Wi-Fi,
there.
Envoy member. A lot of perks with the Marriott.
To get into college football, I guess I'll give you the floor because the story of the week was your who Hoosiers.
I mean, what a win! Top, got to be the biggest win in program history. I mean, it's just unbelievable job. Mendoza, Signetti, Surratt, all of them. IU's first top 5 road win in program history. Now they're 1 in 46 in that category. Fewest points at home for Oregon since 2022. I mean, it was just an absolute, and IU led most of that game. It wasn't like they had to come some miraculous comeback or something like that. Mendoza threw that pick 6 to tie the game 2020 in the 4th. And what did he do? Calm, cool, and collected. Came right back. 12 plays, 75 yards. I mean, you texted me on that back shoulder throw to Surratt. It's just a pro throw. And then, the defense steps up, gets an interception after that, kick field goal, and it's lights out. So unbelievable job by the Hoosiers. If there was any doubts on, the Illinois game was something, but everybody kind of like, oh, it's just Illinois. But when you go into Eugene, Oregon against the Oregon Ducks, who are one of the college football's, top choices to win the national title, and you beat them on their home turf, questions are answered. The Hoosiers are for real.
Absolutely not a fluke. Like, they dominated this game. And you talked about that throw to Surratt in the end zone. I mean, dude, it just looked like Burrow to Chase.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just the quarterback knowing where his guy's going, the Surratt knowing exactly when he needs to turn, and you can't defend it as a corner. And it was just absolutely beautiful. But yeah, you talked about him throwing that pick 6, and he was under duress a little bit, but you can't float that one up there.
It was a floater.
But they recovered.
Mm-hmm.
And, for all the talk that we talk about the offense, Mendoza had 215 yards and Surratt had 8 for 121 and a tutty. They had 6 sacks. And Dante Moore did not get comfortable the entire game, threw those 2 picks. I mean, dude, they're got to be in the conversation as one of the best teams in the country.
Oh, there's no doubt they are. And then, the road for them, I mean, you look at what happened around the Big Ten, it gets a lot easier. They don't play the Michigans and the Ohio States the rest of the way. The only time they'll face one of those 2 teams is if they make it to the Big Ten championship game. And then you look at Penn State. Now they've lost 3 in a row. That Aller's out for the season. That was their toughest game remaining on the schedule, was at Penn State. It still probably will be a tough game. Penn State's talented, but it's not anything like we were expecting it to be. And outside of that, you've got just, middle of the road teams left on the schedule. Your home games are against Michigan State and UCLA and Purdue, and you're on the road at Maryland. So, and on the road at Penn State, like I mentioned. So the road to the Big Ten championship is wide open for IU. I mean, just put the pedal to the floor and drive it on up to Indy. Because, I mean, they're in the driver's seat.
Yeah. And it's not just their offense. Like, they're a balanced team. They're good in every facet. And I don't know, it's like, to fathom the job that Signetti has done up there. Like, it's almost like nobody ever expected Indiana to be in the top 25, to be in the conversation regarding the playoff. His first year they get to the playoff, everybody's like, all right, this is kind of fluky a little bit.
Yeah.
But to follow it up and to begin the season the way they've done, to me, it's the story of the college football season, other than the top teams kind of falling out.
Yeah.
It's that and IU. And I mean, that's what this season's been all about. And the one number you left out, they were 1 for 72 all time against top 5 teams. All time, 1 for 72 going into Saturday. And now they are 2 and 72 against top 5 teams, and they're a top 5 team themselves.
Oh, there's no doubt. No doubt.
And, I you can talk about it. Indiana potentially being the number 1 team. I think Ohio State also deserves to be in that conversation.
Yeah.
We talked about Indiana just putting it on Illinois, or Ohio State that didn't put up the numbers that Indiana did offensively, but they turned them over 3 times, turned that into 21 points, and Indiana's defense is just, it's or not Indiana, Ohio State's defense is incredible, and I think they're the number 1 scoring defense in the country. Their opponents are averaging 5 points a game, and Illinois had 2 touchdowns in the second half. I think the final was 34-16. That doubled the number of touchdowns that Ohio State have given up all year.
Yeah. No, Ohio State's the real deal. Like you said, the defense is the story for the Buckeyes. At this point, I mean, there's nobody that's going to stop them. They're definitely rolling to the Big Ten title game. They'll be in that college football playoff. Once if they do make it, IU Ohio State in IU's backyard up in Indianapolis, that's going to be fun.
It'll be real fun. And it's all about Ohio State's. We've talked all about their defense, but I feel like Sand's getting better, every game, and the weapons they've got on offense. So their offense is nothing to sneeze at either. But I mean, I guess the one benefit of them not playing in the regular season is if they do get to that point, you'll see it for the first time.
Hopefully, they can just beat Michigan this year. They've struggled with that last couple of years, but they can get past Michigan. They'll be there.
So one person that's not going to be there this week is James Franklin. Fired after 3 straight losses to Oregon, UCLA, and Northwestern. The Oregon game was a great game. Overtime loss. Everybody's talked about your struggles against top 5 teams, and you've got a chance there. You don't pull it out again, and then your team just completely falls apart the last 2 weeks. The loss to UCLA was, even though we talked about how, going out west is always kind of tough, you can't lose to a team that's as bad as UCLA is. And you follow that up with a loss to Northwestern. Was you surprised of the news that James Franklin is out at Penn State?
A little bit. I mean, not surprised that I expected it to come at some point, but to do it right now, a little surprising. I thought maybe they'd give them until the end of the year to try to figure it out, get this thing back on track. Like I said, they still have opportunities against like ranked Indiana team coming up. And I believe they might play Michigan. I think so. I mean, they have opportunities to turn it around. I thought maybe they would give that to Franklin, especially after the season they had last year, taking them to the college football playoff. I mean, as you said, his track record of beating, the top 5, top 10 teams is not very good. But he did make the college football playoff last year. I expected him probably to finish the year. But Penn State wasn't willing to give him that opportunity. So they paid him, what are we talking, 50 large to sit on the couch for the rest of the season?
Yeah, the numbers are just, I'm telling you, if you ever get offered a head coaching job, whether you think you can do it or not, you take it.
I might just suck on purpose. You pay me $50 million to go sit on my couch. I'll be good with that. I
don't know if there's anything better than being a fired coach.
Not in 2025.
I think you're talking about something like $200,000 a month, something like that. And how long does that last? These numbers are just crazy, and to go away for a coach that, he's had success at Penn State. It's not been the success that they probably wanted him to have. They get to the playoff last year, bunch of high hopes this year, and you lose 3 straight. A month ago, nobody would predicted James Franklin to be gone. And now he is, and you wonder, do they get a little better now that Drew Allar is hurt? Because he's kind of struggled there. People have talked how poorly he's played a little bit, and I don't know, just a mess there.
Big mess, but
is your boy Cignetti? I'm sure his name's going to come up for that opening.
Oh, his name will be on every college coach's opening. I mean, we're talking Penn State. He's probably going to be on any other big college. Florida comes open, he's going to be on that list.
Looks like that one is going to come open too.
Yeah, I think it's on the verge. I mean, any big college football opening, he's going to be on that list. There's no doubt.
So, and we've talked about this off air a little bit, but at Indiana, like, you can get to the national championship game. It's not like the old days where, if you're at a smaller conference, you couldn't get there. Indiana's in the Big Ten. They can get there where he is now, but is just the pull to go to such a prestigious program too much to pass up for him, you think?
I mean, you think about the the two schools and what they value, and Penn State values football. I mean, nobody at Penn State cares about basketball. It's a football school. All of their resources are going into football. They're playing in a 90 something thousand seat stadium, and I think they're renovating it, or they have plans to renovate it to make it even nicer. And at IU, do they value football? Sure. I mean, everybody values football, but IU is a true blue blood basketball school. Basketball will always be the king there. That's where the focus is of the fan base. That's where the money's going to go. Like, they care about being good at basketball more than football. And then that's the same at places like Kentucky and places like North Carolina and places like Duke and Louisville. Like, basketball is going to be king. Do we care about football? Yes, we want our football teams to be successful, but basketball is always going to be king. So I think the money will speak for itself. I mean, you might be able to pay him what Penn State will pay him. Who knows? But I just think the lure of going to a true football school and being the top dog at that school probably might be a little too much.
I agree. What's going to happen is Indiana is going to have this football history where for the first however many years, they were just most of the time terrible,
Yeah.
sometimes okay.
Yeah.
And then they're going to have this 2-year blimp where they get to the playoff both years.
Mm-hmm.
And he's going to leave to go to Penn State or wherever. I think there's a good chance that he's somewhere else next year. And then they're going to go back to where they were. So you're just going to have this long chart where they're here, and then for 2 years, we're in the playoff. We're one of the best teams in the country, and then it's immediately going to come back down.
Well, I don't know if that doesn't have to be the case. I mean,
it doesn't have to, but I'd say it's pretty likely.
If you go find another diamond in the rough like a Cincinnati that can come in and win right away, like he did, took him to the playoff.
How many of those exist, though?
Probably not many, but you might find. I don't know. Maybe you find one. But they found the right one, so they hit it once. You got to strike gold twice, which is not likely, but it's possible. So,
I mean, every year that you can retain him is a win. If you can just keep pushing him off leaving a year, it's a win. I mean, people thought he might leave after year 1. They got him back here for year 2, and
I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised he didn't leave after year 1, because he took a lot of his players from James Madison with him. I think he wanted to stick through it until those guys, transferred out of the program, like they graduated and moved on. So I think he owed it to those guys, and now those guys, their time at Indiana is coming to an end. So a lot of them were, sophomores, juniors when they came in. So now that their time's coming to an end, I don't think he feels the need to stick around like he probably did after year 1. Because like I said, he brought some guys with him, and he didn't want to quit on him after that, after 1 year. So, I don't know.
I mean, Mendoza's like number 2 on some NFL draft boards, like at Indiana, like all this at Indiana.
And he wasn't he didn't put up earth-shattering numbers at California last year. Like, Cal was not a very good football team. They're an average football team. I think he was just a pretty okay average quarterback. I mean, I know he had some other offers, D1 offers to transfer into, but he chose Indiana, and it's worked out for both of them.
It'll be interesting to see what they do the rest of the way. But the schedule this weekend, it's kind of been relaxed the last couple of weeks with top 25 matchups, but we got 5 of them this weekend.
5, most of any week so far this season. I mean, we got a big one. Ole Miss, number 5, Ole Miss at Georgia, who's ranked number 9. So, little top 10 matchup. Tennessee at Alabama, huge rivalry there. Tennessee coming in at number 11 and Alabama at number 6. And you got LSU going to Nashville to face Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt team that's ranked 17th now, coming off that loss to Alabama. But
those 6 schools all got something in common.
What's that?
Yeah, those 6 schools all got something in common.
They might play for the same conference.
Yeah.
They might, Other matchups, number 20, USC at number 13, Notre Dame, and at number 23, the rivalry in Utah, 23 Utah at number 15 BYU. So out of those 5 matchups, which one are you looking forward to the most?
Well, you got to stick in the top 10, right? And Lane Kiffin already putting out some banter there. I don't know. Have you seen this?
What did he cut? Wait, he said that Kirby Smart, did he call him fat almost? He's not losing a lot of weight on the side?
He didn't call him fat.
In a roundabout way, maybe?
But he was asked in his press conference if himself or Kirby Smart burned more calories with their antics on the sideline. The guy who asked it was like, "Yeah, little, just a random question, a little out there." And he just kind of sat there quiet for a little bit. And then he closes by saying, "I walked by the TV and saw his press conference today talking about Kirby Smart. Doesn't look like he's burned too many calories."
In a roundabout way, he's calling him a little hefty.
Yeah, which is, I mean, I know there's no love lost between those two programs, but kind of a wild thing to say about the head coach that you're going to shake his hand whether you win or lose at the end of the
I
game.
mean, I'm guessing they're friends. You don't say that about somebody that you're not
No,
tight with. Yeah.
but still, like, a little cheap shot there.
Yeah, I mean, and both of them, like, neither one of them been playing great football in the last week. Georgia last week came back from 10-0 down to Auburn, and Auburn, had that goal line fumble as they were diving across. I still think maybe it was a touchdown. Refs called it a fumble. Georgia recovers, and they go on to come back from 10-0, which should have been down 17-0, come back to win from down 10-0. And speaking of antics, did you see Kirby Smart's antics in that game?
Talk to me about this clap hands thing or whatever.
I mean, there's video of it. Like, it speaks for itself. Basically, Georgia, Kirby Smart wanted to call a timeout. Referee blows the whistle. I mean, clearly gives it the old timeout signal. Referee blows the whistle, stops the clock. Then Kirby Smart was like, no. I was clapping my hands. So basically, he got a free timeout out of it by lying because the referees bought his story, did not award Georgia the timeout, but the play had already stopped. Players are huddling up, talking to the coaches and stuff. It was basically a free timeout for Georgia. By saying he was clapping his hands when video clearly shows Kirby giving it the old timeout signal.
Good strategy. Something we're going to see again.
Great strategy. But how do you, if you're in the league office, how do you let this happen? How do the officials let this happen?
I don't. You've seen, coaches that are kind of intimidating when they've been there for a while, and some referees can fall for that a little bit. They get in their head, but no, you cannot let them get away with this. And it's kind of crazy we haven't seen it before. And if we have, I don't remember seeing it.
Mm-hmm.
But you wonder if it's something somebody else is going to try, because heck, you'd be a lot better off with 4 timeouts than 3.
No, I mean 100%. I'm actually surprised that somebody hasn't tried to do it before. But this kind of stuff with Kirby, it's not uncommon. Like, you watch him on the sideline, he does try to pull some things. So I don't know. It's just wild that something like that could happen. I'm sure the officials in that game have probably been reprimanded. I haven't heard, but I mean, this is clear video of him calling the timeout and then them rescinding it. I don't know.
And like, we have review for everything. You can't go review that. Go look at the review. Go look at it. He calls timeout.
Yeah.
It's pretty obvious.
Very, very obvious. But
we'll get into this at the end of the pod, but there's hockey officials in Russia that are getting banned for life for making way harder, like screwing up a way harder call.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not a hard call. You go to the replay, you can see a call timeout. It's pretty clear.
Can't explain it. I don't know. But that's a big game. Ole Miss at Georgia. And Ole Miss had a close one over the weekend with a pretty bad Washington State team at home. They squeaked out a 24-21 win. As mentioned, Georgia had to come back and beat Auburn. So 2 teams coming in, not playing their best football, but a chance to get right and get a resume win.
Yeah, and, everybody had put Alabama to bed there at the beginning of the season. And, they didn't dominate at Missouri, but Missouri's a pretty good team. They found a way to sneak that one out. I talked about Mendoza being ranked as high as 2 on some draft boards. Ty Simpson was 1 on that draft board. And anytime Alabama's got the first quarterback that's going to be drafted, I think they're a team that you got to be thinking about when it comes to the playoffs.
No, yeah, Alabama's back. I mean, there's no doubt about it. They're rolling. I know you said they struggled a little bit against Missouri. Missouri's a good team. But, they're coming off the win at Georgia, another chance for a resume win at home against a Tennessee Volunteers team, one of their big rivals, highly ranked number 11. I think that's what the Vols were. So, Bama wins this. They're in the driver's seat to get to that SEC title game. And then their resume speaks for itself with the wins that they've racked up so far. They'll be in that college football playoff.
Yeah, so big week of college football this weekend. Looking forward to that. The game of the week was the Chiefs and the Lions. The Chiefs went 30-17, and I bet you don't know how many penalties the Chiefs committed in that one.
Let's see. 1, 2, 3. No, zero.
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 Zero penalties. After the week before having 13 at Jacksonville. 13 penalties the week before. The NFL was like, hold on here. Hold on. You got to get the officials. They had called Gene Steratore, have a talk with all the NFL officials and say, we can't call this many penalties on the Chiefs. Can't be having it. We need the Chiefs in the Super Bowl once again. We can't be having 13 penalties. So what happens? They go the extreme opposite, and they're like, nope, you played a perfect game. Never seen it before.
No
Perfect
flag.
game.
No flags.
Zero.
I mean, if the Bengals could go 5 minutes without a penalty, I would be ecstatic. I don't know if you've seen like the goofy little video on the internet where dude's playing golf and he's dressed up as Patrick Mahomes and he's talking like Kermit the Frog. But he hits the ball and it goes in the bunker. He's getting ready to hit it out of the bunker, and the whistle blows from the other side. You can't see what's happening. All of a sudden, the referee comes into the bunker and says illegal spot, and he puts the ball on the green, he putts it, and makes his birdie.
I mean, it's like you don't want to get into and believe that there's a conspiracy. The Chiefs, the NFL and the Chiefs, NFL and the Chiefs, NFL and the Chiefs. But when you go from 1 week of having 13 penalties to the next week of having zero, you're going to tell me that there was not a single hold that the Chiefs had? None of the offensive linemen grabbed any jersey. Nobody moved a little bit early. Nobody was lined up a little bit offsides. There was no pass interferences in a game. What? No illegal contacts? No defensive holdings? Yes. Nothing?
You can call holding pretty much any play you want. Any play you want, you can call it.
Yeah.
Pass interference, you can call it probably almost any time you want. And that's not saying they should, but these it's a tough job to be an official. You all right over there? It's a tough job to be an official. But them to get no holding or no pass interference for 60 minutes is just asinine. And on top of that, the Lions score on that trick play.
Yeah.
Where Goff catches the touchdown, bobbles it, but eventually gathers it in to score.
Yeah.
And then after what felt like forever, they take that off the board due to a penalty that he didn't set.
Illegal motion. Yeah.
So not only do they have zero penalties, but you take off a touchdown because of a penalty that we're not even 100% sure if it was a penalty. And Campbell is saying that the ruling came from New York, while the officials are saying that it came from the crew itself. So somebody's lying about this.
Well, Terry McAulay was the rules official on the broadcast, and he was all over it from the beginning. I mean, he even said like this should not count. That Goff was under center to start. He was under center, and then went in motion and never came to a stop, which I guess is a rule. So, if we're in the business of believing Terry McAulay, who's been an official for however many years he was an official, then it was the right call. But as you mentioned, on the field, I don't think they knew about it. I think you're right. I think it did come from New York. And
but the crew said it did.
If we're having penalties being called from New York, then this game's getting a little sideways.
Yeah, the lead on-field official in that game was Craig Rosted, and he said after the game that the crew on the field made the call. And that wasn't the way that we perceived it watching the game. That's not the way that Dan Campbell thought it came across. He did say that if Goff was in shotgun formation, then it wouldn't have been a penalty, but because he was under center, that's why it was called.
Correct.
So in the end, it probably was the right call. But when you flip that around and then the other team's getting zero penalties, it makes it stand out even more.
Yeah.
So everybody's putting the Chiefs as dead. Are the Chiefs back?
Yeah, I had them as dead, but they might be back. They might be back. I mean, that's a good, very, very good Lions team that they beat. And then you look around the league, like the Buffalo Bills, who we were all, crowning as champions just 2 weeks ago, are on now a 2-game losing streak. Losing
so are the Eagles.
And so are the Eagles. And then like the Bills losing at home to to New England, and then now going on the road to a mediocre Falcons team who maybe is a little bit better than we gave him credit for. But losing on the road at the Falcons, Commanders losing, another team that we thought would be at the top of the league, losing at home to the Chicago Bears and other mediocre teams. And like you said, the Eagles losing 2 in a row. It's just the teams that we thought were good are not as good as we thought they were, and the teams that we were about to give up on are now resurgence and coming back.
Is it
Maybe
just that maybe everybody is mediocre?
I think that's probably more of an accurate statement. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, we kind of were ignoring signs of the Bills and the Eagles because they were still undefeated. The Eagles' offense was really struggling.
Yeah.
AJ Brown was complaining, and they're still undefeated, but now after all that happens, they lose 2 in a row.
Yeah.
The Bills squeaked out wins over the Dolphins and the Saints, and we kinda just pushed it aside, right?
Right.
Because they're the Bills, and then they go to lose 2 in a row.
Yeah.
And we're kinda putting them on a pedestal before their 2 losses, saying, "You know what? They're still the best team. They've struggled recently, but they still figured out ways to win." But now those holes are turning into losses, and who is good? Who's good?
Colts are sitting there at 5-1. Baker Mayfield and the Bucks are sitting there. I think are they
Those are
5?
the only 2 5-1 teams.
Yeah. I mean, I think that the Buccaneers are good. I think Baker Mayfield's the real deal. We mentioned him being one of the top MVP candidates. I think they're good. Colts, I think are good, but not great. They're above average. Let's put them there. I think
I
they're
mean,
good
they
enough.
just put it on the Raiders.
I mean, it's also the Raiders. It's like
I know it is, but still, to be a great team in the NFL, you've got to blow out teams that aren't good,
yeah,
right? And you don't
true.
see that, and like you see blowouts in college all the time, but you
Yeah,
don't see that in the NFL. But that's what you should do as a really good NFL team. If you're playing a team that's inferior, you should blow them out, and the Colts did that, and they deserve credit for that.
they do. They do. I mean, and they have a decent win against it's kind of a fluky win, but a decent win over the Broncos.
It's
And
fluky.
then
Oh, it's
and then
fluky.
a game out in LA that they should have won that they gave away against the Rams, a pretty good Rams team. So I don't know. I think you're right. It's a lot of average teams to slightly above average teams. I think when you get down to it here in the late weeks of the season in weeks 16, 17, you're going to have a lot of jumbled up teams fighting for those 3 wild card spots. It come down to some tiebreakers because they're all going to be right around the same record.
I mean, other than the Jets obviously are terrible,
Yeah.
but there's still a lot of open spots. And it's gonna be I mean, there's teams that are 2 and 4 that could end up in the playoffs. But one thing I wanted to talk like, you talked about the Bucks being 5-1, and everybody's talked about Baker Mayfield. And, you know, he's the fun thing to talk about when it comes to the Bucks. And they've got so many receivers that are hurt, they continue to win. But dude, nobody ever talks about Todd Bowles. And, I mean, I know he's not the flashiest coach out there. Like, he doesn't get a lot of the headlines, but I think that dude deserves some credit for what he's doing in Tampa Bay. And, every team has injuries, and a lot of teams blame their struggles on injuries. But look how many injuries they've had with their wideouts. And I mean, yeah, this is a credit to Baker too, but they just continue rolling on offense, and they continue finding ways to win games late.
Yeah. No, you're right. Todd Bowles does deserve a lot of credit. He turned them around last year, but Baker Mayfield especially. I mean, we've given him his flowers on this show before. Ever since he's come to town, he's just taken that team over, taking it over by storm, turning them around, and he's playing the best football of his career. And like you said, with the receivers being hurt and Baker still being able to get the job done, credit to both of them.
So let's rank the top 10 teams in the NFL and try to do this quick, and we'll alternate 1, 2, 3, 4. You could start. Who do you think the best team in the NFL is?
I'm going to give my best team in the NFL. I'm still going to give it to the Detroit Lions at number 1.
Okay. I thought you were going to go a different direction there, but I just gave Todd Bowles his praise.
Yeah.
And, I always look at the NFC South, and in the past years, I've been like, they win this division, they get in the playoffs because they're in that division. I think they've jumped out of that, and I think I've got them as number 2.
Tampa Bay Bucks is number 2, huh? Okay. My number 3 team, we are gonna go I'm gonna go with the Seattle Seahawks. I think it's probably the third best team. I
Just
mean, you
hot takes on hot takes.
not really though. Like they should have won that game against Baker Mayfield 2 weeks ago. The team that you were putting at your top team, the Seahawks should have won that game. You know, they kind of blew that one late. Late turnover led to that Buccaneers field goal. But you know, like they went into a they just went on the road to Jacksonville, cross country to Jacksonville, and beat a Jaguars team that's only lost once before then. They went to Pittsburgh against the Steelers team that's only lost once all year. That loss was to the Seattle Seahawks. So the Seahawks are playing good football. They're playing some of the best football in the league, I think, right now.
Well, and everybody talks about the big home field advantage in Seattle. They're 1-2 at home, 3-0 on the road.
Yeah.
For number 4, I'm going Buffalo. I know they've lost 2 in a row. I know, the loss last night to Atlanta, like a team that lost 30-0 to Carolina, and then they come in and beat the Bills. Like, this is what nobody knows what's happening in the NFL, but I'm going Bills number 4.
For number 5 for me, unfortunately, I had them dead, but I think the Kansas City Chiefs have played their ways back in. I mean, the 14 penalties they had in Jacksonville, and you know they kind of gave that game away late with some late miscues of kicking the ball out of bounds, and you know some late penalties there. They probably should have won that game on Monday night last week against Jacksonville, but you know you beat a Lions team that the guy said I have them ranked at number 1. I think the Chiefs are starting to figure it out, and I would put them probably at number 5.
So number 6, I still can't believe that you haven't said the Colts. So do I go the Colts or the Eagles? I'll go Colts at 6. I think they deserve it. I think week to week they've been consistent. I mean, Danny Dimes is not a 1-week wonder. He continues to play good football. They just put it on the Raiders, and I'm putting them at number 6.
Number 7, I think the Green Bay Packers will be my 7th choice. They come off a win against the Bengals. They put up 40 in Dallas and a tie the week before. But the Green Bay, 3-1-1 on the season. Already with that win over the Lions under their belt. I think that they're probably in the top 10. I put them at what are we numbers? What are we at 7? 7.
So I guess I got to go the Eagles. I know they've struggled, but I mean we're to 8, and 2 weeks ago we had them and the Bills as 1-2. So I'll go the Eagles at 8. Who's your last pick for the top 10?
My number 9 and last pick of this top 10 is a division leader, a team that when we ranked before the season started, when we said, give me 2 teams that did not make the playoffs last year that you could make the playoffs this year, and I kind of went off the rails a little bit. The New England Patriots sitting there at 4-2 in first place in the AFC East. Coming off, I think they've won probably maybe they won in a row. They've won 3 in a row. They already have that win in Buffalo. You know, their offense is absolutely rolling. Drake May's got that thing figured out. Mike Vrabel is coming in, turning them around completely. So at 4-2, sitting in first place in the AFC East, the New England Patriots are my 9th choice.
So we get to 10, and we still haven't said the Steelers, who are 4-1, the Jaguars, who are 4-2, the Chargers, who are 4-2, the Broncos, who are 4-2, the 49ers, who are 4-2, and the Rams, who are 4-2. So of those teams, who do I think deserves to be in the 10th spot? I'm going the Rams.
I wouldn't have gone there. That's a saucy choice.
I'm going the Rams.
That's a saucy choice. Give me a reasoning.
I mean, McVay and Stafford. And, their defense is always good in the playoffs. They've got a good young defense, and they've proven that they can do it in the postseason. So I think the Chargers and the Broncos are almost too even, to kind of separate one or the other. So, yeah, I'm not saying it was an easy call, but I'll go to the Rams.
Chargers have that bad loss at New York against the Giants, and I think they've just lost again recently. They might have lost this past week, right? 2-point win over the Dolphins.
Yeah, they won this week.
Yeah, squeaking a close one over the trash Dolphins. You know, I'm not sold on the Chargers. I'm not sold on the Steelers. Steelers haven't really played anybody yet, but and they're in what somehow turned out to be the easiest division in football because the other 3 teams in the AFC North have absolutely stink. I mean, but I mean, some of these other teams like the Jaguars, they were there until they got manhandled by the Seahawks at home this past week. But I mean, a lot of 4-2 teams that are good, above average, slightly above average, but it just all comes back to it. They're all about the same. We talked about this. They're all just a bunch of above average to above average teams. So
Yeah, I mean, but you know what? That's why people tune in. It's not like the NBA and, you know, Major League Baseball where the Dodgers are there every year, and, you know, that's what people love about it. It's unpredictable, and week to week, you just never know. But before we get into kind of previewing next weekend, one coach was fired as Brian Callahan is out in Tennessee, 4-19 in his 23 games. Your thoughts on him being fired, what, 6 games into the
yeah,
season this year?
it's no surprise. I mean, we all knew this was coming, especially after this last game. Some of his comments he made in his post game conference saying, we got to be better, and that includes Cam Ward, and he's kind of dogging on Cam Ward a little bit. And when you're that's your number one pick from this past draft, ownership's not going to take too kindly of that. Fans aren't either. Like, the blame stops with you, and it just was not working. And I like Brian Callahan. He was great as an offensive coordinator in Cincinnati for us. I have nothing but good things to say from when his time was in Cincinnati. But him as a head coach in Tennessee was just a disaster. So I think he probably goes back to being a coordinator somewhere next year. The Titans move on and try to find a coach. They shouldn't have fired Vrabel in the first place, to be honest with you. I don't know what they were doing there. That's probably the biggest mistake they've made, was firing Mike Vrabel after he had just taken you to a number 1 seed in the AFC 3 years ago. But I don't know. It's just a tough place to win down there right now.
It is, and there's been a lot of volatility in their front office with their general managers, with their head coaches. I'm not going to go into all the changes, but there's been a lot of changes there. And I think the people in Nashville, they love Mike Vrabel as their coach. And, he had some success there, and you cut ties with him, and then you don't have a quarterback on top of it, and you're coming into a tough situation. And I just think Brian Callahan was up against it. And he's a young coach, but will he get another opportunity to be a head coach when you're 4-19 and you get fired a year and 6 games into your tenure? I mean, what do you say in your interview process? You can't throw the management or the ownership of the Titans under the bus when you're talking to new management and ownership. So do you just take any job because you get offered, or do you need to be more picky about the jobs you're taking? Because I don't care how good of a coach Brian Callahan was. I don't know how he was succeeding with those quarterbacks
No,
and
no, you're
and
not.
only getting 23 games to fix it.
No, you're not. He was up against it, as you mentioned, and I think you're right. Some of these coordinators do need to be more selective. You can't just go into a team that the cupboard's bare. Like, they got rid of Derrick Henry. They're all pro superstar running back. Your quarterback is Will Levis, a guy that somehow was a top pick in the
Well,
second round, one of the top picks.
I thought he was going to go
And
higher than that.
he was supposed to be maybe a first round pick, and he ends up being the second round. But that guy's not a second round talent. He's not an NFL quality quarterback. And you finally get a piece in Cam Ward, but he's going to go through some rookie growing pains, and it's only been 6 games. So he never really had a chance to do anything with Cam Ward. But then Cam Ward doesn't have any weapons yet either. It's like they haven't surrounded that team with enough talent for anybody to win. You could put Bill Belichick in his prime at the Tennessee Titans, and I don't think he wins with this bunch of players. So they've got to do something different down there. If the next coach is going to come in and be successful, they've got to go get more talent. But you're right though. You do have to be more selective if you're an offensive coordinator. The situation, or a defensive coordinator, and you're trying to find a head coaching job, just don't take any job that's offered, because you'll find out real quickly if the situation's not right. You're going to fail.
Now, if you're an older guy, then I think, yeah, you
Sure.
take it. If you're
Sure.
Mike Zimmer and you haven't been a coach and the Vikings come calling, you take that job. But if you're a younger guy in your late 30s or your 40s, I mean, be more selective, because I think I don't see how he's going to get another chance to be a head coach after
Yeah.
that performance, and I don't think it's all on him. We know he can coach a little bit. Now, being an offensive coordinator and being a head coach and being in charge of it all is a different thing. Tough situation there for Brian Callahan, and
Joe Brady, I think, is the name that they're gonna see pop up on a lot of head coach openings, especially the Titans. The offensive coordinator up in Buffalo, like he's one of those, like we mentioned, one of those up and coming coordinators looking for his first head coaching job. And if I'm him, I'm not going to the Titans. You know what I'm doing? I'm waiting for the Cincinnati Bengals to come calling. And once Zach Taylor gets the boot, which he should, hopefully this year, reunite with that Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow combo that he used to coach in LSU. That's the guy. Give me, give me Brady at
we're a ways away from that. There's no going to be no in-season coaching changes for the Bengals. It's just not how the Browns do it. But I know it's your dream scenario.
It's not. I had to put it out there in the
Yeah.
universe.
So, I mean, we talked about all this Vrabel, Callahan stuff. The first game after Callahan's fired, it's the Patriots at the Titans.
That's going to be a bloodbath. And yikes. Yeah, there might be more fans cheering for the Patriots and Mike Vrabel than they are cheering for their hometown team and the Titans, just because of how much they do love Vrabel down there.
And I would think he's going to do everything he can to just put it on them. Right?
You have to. I mean, you absolutely have to.
So the Colts play the Chargers, which should be a good one, the Bucks and the Lions. And then we have the Icy Hot Bowl in Cincinnati on Thursday night as Aaron Rodgers and Joe Flacco square off against each other. The second quarterback duo to face off against each other after the age of 40. We asked, would this be the first time last week? Would it be the first time that we've seen two quarterbacks 40 and over facing each other? It is the second time. Drew Brees and Tom Brady did it 3 times in 2020.
So Icy Hot Bowl Part 2. Is that what we're calling it then?
I guess if they played 3 times, I think it would technically be the Icy Bowl 4. Icy Hot Bowl 4.
Oh, yeah. Okay. But no, I mean, looking forward to it. We'll be there tomorrow night. The Bengals, if they have any hope of trying to get back in this thing and get to the playoffs, like now is when your season starts. The new season starts tomorrow night because now you go through a string of 3 straight home games. You got Pittsburgh, you got the New York Jets, and you got the Chicago Bears all at home before the bye week. These are 3 games that if you have a chance of getting into the playoffs, you need to win all 3 of these. And they can. I think that there's a chance for them to do it. Joe Flacco, in the second half at least, in Green Bay, breathed a little life into that offense. I think the first half, the coaching staff did a poor job of calling the plays and letting Joe do what Joe wants to do, like throwing the football. But once they opened up the playbook in the second half, the Bengals offense came to life. The defense did not. But I think there is a glimmer of hope with Joe Flacco based on what we saw in Green Bay. And the next 3 games are games that you could win.
Yeah, I mean, the Bengals game on Sunday was a tale of 2 halves. And anytime you go the first quarter where you're outpossessed 14-1, you're going to have a hard time you winning that game. And, their defense was good in the first half, got that stop and kind of kept them in the game. And then the offense starts showing signs in the second half. And what does the defense do?
Doesn't tackle.
Tries to let Josh Jacobs just run down straight through everybody for a touchdown. And you cut it to 6 when you go for 2 and you get a sack. You got them at 3rd and 8. Mm-hmm. And what do? You leave Golden wide open for a first down. So, I mean, yeah, they look like a football team in the second half for the first time since, I guess in the fourth quarter against the Jags, Browning, they look like a football. But since then, they haven't. And we saw that in the second half. And if they can figure out a way to beat Pittsburgh, if Pittsburgh wins this game, they're 5-1. Everybody else is. Yeah, Bengals are second at 2-5.
It's lights out north.
It's pretty much lights out for the division.
Yeah.
But if you can figure out a way to win that one,
yeah,
you get to 3-4. They drop to 4-2.
Yeah.
And then your schedule lightens up and you can see what happens. But I don't know, still a long road to go. But you did see some things from Joe Flacco that you think can help this team. And I know one thing, he was impressed with his weapons and Jamar Chase and T with the things he said.
It's got to go both ways. I mean, Joe Flacco, as you mentioned last week, is coming from a situation in Cleveland with statistically was the worst receiving core in the league with all those drops. He comes and he's got Jamar Chase catching balls over defenders' shoulders and in double coverage, and Joe Flacco's squeezing these throws into tight windows, something that Jake Browning wasn't doing. So both ways, Jamar Chase and T. Higgins are finally getting opportunities to make plays because Joe Flacco's throwing the ball to him and throwing him in the right spots. And then vice versa, Joe Flacco's not having receivers drop the ball. So, Flacco's stats last week were actually pretty good. 29 of 45 for 219, 2 touchdowns. His QB or his rating was 90, which was higher than any Jake Browning rating we've seen. Jake Browning's highest rating was against Detroit. I think it was 76. So a lot higher rating from Joe Flacco in that one game than we've seen from Jake Browning. So ride that momentum going into tomorrow night. Hopefully the coaching staff has a better offensive game plan from the get-go.
Look, you talk about game plan. The man had 3 days to get ready for that game. Like, I don't care who your coaches are.
No,
you're not gonna just walk in and look like you've been together for years. It's not all on the coaching staff.
Yes, it was.
No,
Joe Flacco's not a rookie.
He even said it.
Flacco's not a rookie. He's not a rookie. The man has been around football. He knows the basics of football. Let him throw the ball.
Basics of football, but anytime you're playing with a new team, it's going to be different.
Why are we scared to let Joe Flacco, a Super Bowl MVP, one of the top 20 quarterbacks statistically in league history, get out there and sling the ball to 2 of the best wide receivers in the league? Stop it with this reverse stuff and screen passes and all this other nonsense. Get out of here. I don't care if he's been there for 3 days. You let the man throw the ball and make the plays because he's Joe Flacco. He can do it.
He's Joe Flacco. And that's kind of the point. He is Joe Flacco. No, they were not great in the first half. But, dude, it takes longer than 3 days to get, But I will say that we talked about the back shoulder throw from Mendoza to Surratt. The throw from Flacco to Chase.
Which one?
To cut the score to 8.
2 of them. The one he scored the touchdown on?
Huh?
He had the one where he scored the touchdown on, but he also had another one to Chase earlier in the game in that first down where he basically buzzed the helmet of the defender and Chase somehow hauled that one.
I'm talking about the touchdown. And that was not the drawn-up play from Zach Taylor. Jamar Chase gave Flacco a different route because he saw that the way they were playing it, and they kind of just playground it, and that's when they scored the touchdown.
I mean, that's what smart football players do. You've got the best wide receiver in the league and a Joe Flacco who probably knows the game better than any other quarterback in this league right now than Aaron Rodgers because he's been there for so long. He knows what he's doing. Let the 2 guys, let them call the plays. We don't need Zach Taylor. Get Zach Taylor out of here right now. Get him out. Let's let Joe Flacco and Jamar Chase be offensive coordinators and head coaches. Heck, they should probably call it defensive plays too because nobody on that side of the ball knows what they're doing. Let them run the team, and we'll see where we're at the end of the year.
Well, and they asked Jamar Chase, how much do you understand the quarterback position? Do you think you could play it? And he's like, no, I understand everything that a quarterback, is trying to do out there. And I think that helps me be one of the best wide receivers in the league. But no, I don't want to be a quarterback. I don't want to throw the football. I want to catch the football.
I think he's just fine where he is.
Yeah. So Bengals hosted the Steelers. Always fun when the dirty Steelers come to the Natty, and it'll be fun to be there tomorrow night.
You checked off your have you checked off your tailgating items off your list yet?
I got mine tomorrow morning.
Okay.
Well, not tomorrow morning. I'll probably leave work at about 2:30 and then take care of all that.
Cutting it close.
We'll be cutting it close. We'll be good though.
Okay.
So that wraps up the NFL. A lot of good games this weekend, and we'll see if the Bengals can take care of the Steelers and get back in the AFC North. So the one thing I want to close with is, we talked about the officials and the Chiefs and the Lions game.
Mm-hmm.
And I had mentioned briefly about a hockey official in Russia in the KHL. So the puck slides under the goalie and it goes in the net, but video replay shows that it didn't actually go through the pipe. It actually went behind the pipe and went under the net and went into the goal. They allowed this goal to count, and when the game finished, the goal stood. That referee who made the wrong call was banned for life.
Oh. Ooh.
Should we have bigger repercussions for referees and officials in the States?
Absolutely. Yes. The answer to that is yes. Now, banning somebody for life may be a little harsh, especially. I mean, I've saw the video of the puck, and in real time, it's almost impossible to tell. I mean, it's very hard to tell. But also, did they not? There's no replay in Russia. They couldn't go back and get the call right.
Evidently not.
But back to your point of in the States, yes. I mean, especially when officials blow a call or there's a controversial call, they never have to answer questions about it. So let's start there. Let's have an officials press conference after each
Well, they
game.
do in the NFL. They have pool reporters for the officials. That's how we found out about the golf call in the Lions Chiefs game.
Okay, well, at least they have that.
I don't know if any other sports do that.
They need to, and especially in college sports, like there's nobody ever has to answer. It's maybe the NFL, but nobody ever has to answer for calls that they get wrong or controversial calls or this and that. So let's start there. And then, yes, if you blow a call, especially in a big moment or a big game, there should be repercussions where you're suspended or you can't. Maybe you're not working a postseason for a while, or maybe you go down a level in your rank. So there absolutely should be harsher repercussions in these states. But goodness gracious, Russia needs to lighten up a little bit, I think, on their end as well.
But we know this. Like, there are observers of officials.
Yeah.
And they score their games after every time that they're out there. But we as a public never hear anything about, what are you doing? Nobody. What?
Computer was about to die. We don't want that to happen.
We don't want that to happen. But we never hear anything about these scores. They never are made public. And maybe we should get that public. Maybe that should become public information. And, we've gotten to the replay system now where let's bring it back to Jim Joyce and Armando Galarraga.
Yeah.
When he was throwing his no-hitter. And Jim Joyce screws that call up at first base, and Armando Galarraga doesn't get a no-hitter, and he's never going to get that back. And was because of his one bad call.
I mean, it wasn't just a no-hitter. That was a perfect game on the line.
Perfect game. Yeah. So that perfect game goes away because Jim Joyce screws up that call at first. And our officials and referees are human beings. And I mean, you could see how that hit him emotionally. Like, he knew that he screwed up.
Yeah.
But if you make a mistake like that, should you have to sit out 5 games, 10 games?
Yeah. In the case of Jim Joyce, it's hard because for 2 things. Now, number one, that call in today's day and age would be overturned, and that would be an out based on replay, and Galarraga would be celebrating his perfect game. So a call like that, especially in Major League Baseball where all these things can be reviewed, probably doesn't happen again. But also, Jim Joyce's call didn't affect the outcome of the actual game. I mean, he did take away a piece of history, which really, really sucks. But the biggest repercussions to officials should come in calls that do have a direct impact on the outcome of the game. We're talking wins and losses, especially if you're in the postseason and your call knocks somebody out of a tournament or knocks somebody out of a playoff because you missed one. So Jim Joyce, yes, that should be repercussions, but maybe not as strong as some other scenarios.
Well, I mean, I get what you're saying, and there's not going to be many situations where it's something that screws something up that isn't a win or a loss, but people aren't going to remember who won that game. You remember that he had a perfect game taken away from him because that was the history of it. And there's only been a select few in the history of baseball. So, but I think the main thing is, you're right. Like, the replay is a protection mechanism for referees and officials. And I know a lot of them didn't want it to be involved because they feel like it kind of takes their responsibility away. But in the end, if you do make a mistake, at least you're not going to live with it for the rest of your life, like Jim Joyce is with that call. And as fans, for the most part, we know that that calls are going to be right. Now, we still sometimes see replays and we're like, I have no idea how that play called or how that play got overturned. So, I mean, it still happens, but I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to see the biggest scrutiny is going to come on the calls that can't be reviewed. So, like in football, like the pass interference, non-pass interference calls, and in basketball, like fouls, not foul. Like, you're not going to they don't review that stuff. So it's all these judgment calls that aren't reviewable that are going to be the topics of conversation in situations like this. And then and when there is controversy in those kind of judgment calls, those officials need to answer them why they made those calls, what they saw, why they made them, and if they want to admit that they're wrong, then go ahead and admit that you're wrong. Like, you don't have to pretend like you're right just to save your ego. Like, if you're wrong, just say you're wrong.
Well, the official who made the holding call on Logan Wilson on 3rd down in the Super Bowl, banned for life. The official
I
who
agree
made
with that.
who just allowed the Chiefs to come out and have another 4th down opportunity after they had been stopped on 4th down in the AFC Championship, banned for life.
Banned for life.
So let's be Rucha on those, and for everything else, we'll be a little
I'm
more
talking
chill.
prison time. They should be prison time for those two.
Dude, I would not. I'd vote yes for that. I guess, we talked a little bit about prison time last week, and we need to do a correction.
Yeah.
I won't
You
say
got
we.
got.
Did I get got?
You got. Unfortunately, you got. Yeah.
How did I get got?
The unbelievable story that we were all outraged about, of the Olive Garden waitress getting stiffed on her tip and launching a Randy Johnson fastball breadstick basket at the customer who did not tip, turned out to be a false story. So all is good. But the lesson is still to be learned in that story is if you can't tip, don't go out to eat. Because stuff like this does happen. So I'm sure there's multiple waitresses around the country that have wanted to fire a breadstick basket at a customer before for being stupid and not tipping, and probably haven't. But the lesson in this story is still there to be learned. If you can't tip, don't go out to eat, and tip your servers 20% or 15% at the least.
Yeah. And also the lesson is if the mugshot, she's cute.
Yeah.
Maybe do a little more research, make sure it's real.
Check your sources. Yeah, don't get distracted. Don't get your eyes distracted by the pretty girl. You got to read the story and the source. You got to check the source too.
And this AI era, I know it's just like the NIL era. It's all new to us. Double check everything when it comes to AI. I mean, now we're seeing Fred Rodgers with all these rappers sitting on his bench.
I saw that video. That's funny.
All these like 50 Cent and Eminem songs is 1950s style ballads. So
yeah,
we might. I don't know. Have you heard those?
I've not heard those. I have seen the Mr. Rogers with the rappers though. I think those are pretty good.
We might have to get into these ballads of these Without Me, Many Men.
I'll check
They're
it out.
turning them all into 1950 style songs, and AI's doing a pretty damn good job with it.
I'll have to check it out.
I mean, they honestly kind of bump.
All right.
Hey, we'll check one out on the way to Cincy tomorrow. We're wearing white. Don't forget.
I've got it ready to roll. Got the chili. Chili will be in the crock pot. The grilled cheeses will be flowing on the grill. You just make sure you got that ice and beer.
Oh, we'll have it. So excited to hit the road tomorrow to watch the Bengals hopefully get back in the AFC North hunt, and we'll definitely be back with you Wednesday. We've decided these Sunday shows. If we decide we're going to do it, we'll do it. But with the Bengals not playing on Sunday, there might be a pretty good opportunity.
Yeah, we'll probably be back on Sunday.
But for Neil, I'm Nick. That's enough for today. You've been listening to the Height Differential. We'll catch you either Sunday or Wednesday.